I have contribution from the Honorable Kimani Kuria, member for Modo.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute towards this motion. I sit in the Finance and National Planning Committee that approved this nominee. A lot of things have been said, Mr. Speaker, on the floor of this House, and I'd just like to highlight a few. That this nominee makes us realize that Kenyans are not opposed to women leadership. That Kenyans are not opposed to even youth leadership. But Kenyans want competent people into these respective positions. So when I've heard the contributions on the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, it has not been a gender, it has not been based on the gender and say we are approving her because she's a woman. We are approving CPA Janet because she is competent, she's qualified, and she's going to make a great Auditor General. And probably, when we skew this discussion about women in leadership, and not just say that we want more women in power, we want more women in leadership, but we want great people in leadership positions. If they are men, well and good. If they are women, even better. If they are young people, even much better. Then we will have even achieved the constitutional requirement of 2/3 of one gender should not be in any public office, Mr. Speaker. I saw a very consistent Kenyan who rose from the position of an auditor of provincial schools. And I tell you, Mr. Speaker, being an accountant myself, being a CPA myself, to have someone go through those leadership, go through that audit experience, from auditing schools in the villages all the way to now Auditor General, this is a great sense of hope to Kenyans that yes, you do not have to come from a particular family, you don't need to come from a particular big farm to lead in this country. Because we've seen somebody who is not from, when looking at the CV, I didn't even see her having worked with any of the big four accounting firms, because, Mr. Speaker, in the accounting profession, those people that work with the Deloitte and Touche and Senyang and all those PwC and those great companies are regarded probably as even having posh jobs that other auditors in other departments. But you've seen somebody, despite not having that international experience, who is rising from that low level of audit all the way to the Auditor General, Speaker. There has been a discussion, Mr. Speaker, about when these positions fall vacant, how long do we take before we fill them? Today we are sitting to approve this Auditor General, and whereas this position has stayed without someone filling this position for, I think, almost a year. And, Mr. Speaker, we have seen this even in other government offices. To the best of my knowledge, Mr. Speaker, the office of the Ombudsman, for example, has the immediate former leader of that institution as the Honorable Otiende Amolo. I am not sure whether that office has had somebody to be nominated to continue that position. So what does this mean, Mr. Speaker? That this House needs to come up with legislation that ensures that these positions are filled when and they fall vacant. I have given this example before, Mr. Speaker. We saw an institution like Safaricom appointing a CEO who will report to office a year after the appointment. Whereas as in government, we are approving people in positions as serious and as senior as that of the office of the Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, the point that I was making, and I feel should not be lost, is the filling of those positions when they fall vacant. Although the Honorable Florence Kajuju is now the current Ombudsman, she was only appointed, I think, last year. But the Honorable Dr. Otiende Amolo left the office of the Ombudsman, I think, in 2016, which means for several years, there was no a substantive Ombudsman in that office. And that's what we're talking about. We just had, I think last year we approved the National Land Commission commissioners. How long did it take before the lapse of the term of the previous commissioners and when we appointed them? And these are things that you're saying that as a government, We need to be as competent as the private sector in terms of ensuring that we fill these positions when they fall vacant. Because when we do not do that, then we are disadvantaging our people. We are not doing well for our country and for our economy and for our people. Because these positions are known that between this time and this term will expire and it's not renewable. So it is time for us to renew that position. Mr. Speaker, the new Auditor General, when approved by this House, will come to as a time when the country is very committed towards dealing with matters of corruption. But Mr. Speaker, there has been an issue about almost issues of conflict of interest or too many agencies doing almost the same thing. Having served in the Public Accounts Committee for the last 2 years, we have had serious issues of where we have asked for documents from a particular state officer, and the discussion has been, and the answer has been that those documents cannot be availed because they were taken by EACC or DCI. So the new Auditor General must find a way of working with the office of the DCI, with working with the office of EACC, with working with the oversight committees of Parliament, so that one does not seem to be hindering the works of the other. Because I must say from experience in Public Accounts Committee, I've seen this as a great hindrance towards ensuring that there is justice, and even this House serves its mandate of oversighting use of public funds, Mr. Speaker. Our audit, most of the time, has been based on how much money has been wasted or has been lost. But I think, in as much as Dr. Ouko, the previous Auditor General, did a good job, in terms of audit of value for money for these government projects, has not been properly done. We have found projects that, yes, there was procurement was followed correctly, that project was done, yes, but in terms of the value for money that was used, then you find that this has really been wanting. And you're hoping that the new Auditor General will not just carry an audit on the prudent use of public funds, but also, and most importantly, that carry out an audit of value, where the value for money was achieved in terms of this project, Mr. Speaker. But with those many remarks, I would like to really congratulate CPA Janet on her appointment, and hoping that this House will approve her, and I'm sure that she's going to make a remarkable difference to leadership and prove that women can be as good and competent leaders like men and young people of this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kimani, thank you for your good contribution, and you do justice to the youth ticket in this House by that eloquent